so when the question like this comes out, right, now that we have learned how to complete the square and how to use discriminants, okay, sometimes you may be confused when to use, how to use. All right, in actual fact, you can actually use both discriminants or completing the square. So in this case, it's already in a vertex form already, right? It's already in vertex form, so we use the completing the square form. And how do we do that? We will first prove that y is this always greater than 0. Why? So what is the first step? Do you all remember? It's already in vertex form already. So the first step is 2 minus 3x is square first. Is always greater or equals to 0. That means it can take the positive form or it can be 0. Any number square is either 0 or positive. So now that this is a positive number, okay, and I plus another positive number, it will be strictly positive. So if you do not know that, what you can do is, you can refer back to the very first lesson, right? What do I do on the left? I need to plus 1. What do I do on the right? I also need to plus 1. So 2 minus 3x squared plus 1 must be greater or equals to 1. So that is called the range. That's the range. 2 minus 3x squared plus 1 is greater or equals to 1. Now, what do you know about the number 1? What do you know about it? It is a positive number. So in short, because a positive number, okay, the square is outside, plus a positive number must be then strictly be positive. So you can actually go from here, if you know, once I plus 1, it is positive plus positive is strictly positive. Then you can actually skip to this step. So that is called proving that the function is always positive using the completing the square form, because I have completed the square. But in the event I never complete the square, right? Okay, how does it look like? So if I expand this out, it will be 4 minus 12x plus 9x squared plus 1, right? So it will be 9x squared minus 12x plus 5. If I started with this form, do you want to complete the square or not? It's now your decision. But for us, mostly what will we do? We will use the discriminants. All right, because to be honest, discriminant is one of the easiest chapter for the whole of the A-Maths syllabus. Because it's something very familiar. You have used it for the quadratic formula. So the question is, I want to say that this is always positive. You must tell yourself the end product. What discriminant do you want? What type of discriminant? B squared minus 4AC. You're now very fast already. So it is which one? Always positive. I must prove that it is always less than 0. You don't start with this. Cannot. Once you start with this, I don't need to mark already. I got to give you 0. You cannot start. You must start with this. So why do we start with that? Now looking at all these pictures here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is the only diagram in which the function, the y, the graph is strictly positive. There is no negative y down here. There is no negative fx. Strictly positive. This is the one. So from there, we infer backwards that the discriminant must be less than 0. Okay, when I talk about discriminant, I don't use positive, negative. I always say greater than 0, less than 0, equals to 0, so that you are not confused. Okay, so it's the very, very confusing thing, because down here I look at positive, but down here I got to look at discriminant b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. Okay, so these two you must be very clear. Do not be confused. You first start with the question. You think about how does the graph looks like. Then you come up with the discriminants. All right? Which is why we have the video today, because I want you to understand the sequence. Always start with the question. Look at which of these 6 graphs you want, and then determine which discriminants you are going to use. So in this case, I want to do this. So I hope it will be like that. So B, and if I'm not very clear, we just write this down. A is 9, that's the coefficient of x squared. B is negative 12 and C is 5. So we have negative 12 squared minus 4, 9, 5. And yes, we know it's positive, but please, can you write down the numerical values? 144 minus this. Can someone help me to check? 144 minus 180, so it should be 36, right? Negative 36. So it should be negative 36. And then, what must you say? That is negative 36 is, yeah, I just mark finish your homework and return you, every one of you wrote this down. At least you copy this. So during your WA, you must write this way. The numerical value less than 0. Final conclusion, since the discriminant is less than 0, therefore the function 9x squared minus 12x plus 5 is greater than 0. Even though the discriminant is less than 0, right? It doesn't mean it will always be positive, right? It can also be negative. So what is that one more statement you must say? Since, okay, the graph is U-shaped, you must write this down. Okay, because of the 9x squared. Okay, because of 9x squared. And the discriminant is less than 0. Therefore, the function is strictly positive. Which one is easier? You look at these two. This one is easier to do because you don't have to complete the square. But the explanation has 2 sentences. Whereas this one, the explanation is mostly numbers. So you have to decide which one you want to use. Because when the discriminant is less than 0, it can actually be this one or this one. So we still have to have the tedious part of saying that it is U-shaped. It's a requirement. Okay, so back to this question again. It lies entirely above, so it's here. And we know it's U-shaped. So what type of discriminant do we want to say? Yeah, we want to say this. Now, there's a big difference. I have to write b squared minus 4ac less than 0. I will start with this. I will end with this. So 2 different types of question. Now this one already tell you it lies above the x-axis. It tells you. This one is to explain why it lies above. Can you see the difference? Why it lies above. Why? But this one says that it already lies above. Okay, so since they already told me, right, then I have to form this inequality first. Okay, next step is to say what is the value of A. A is very simple. B, C. So you do not need to say that it is a U-shaped curve lah. Because this is not a proving. It's already telling you already. It's a U-shaped curve. It lies entirely above. So what they want you to do is just to write this. Now please write this, you get 1 mark. Just write this is 1 mark. It's a concept. So by writing the discriminant, I give you 1 mark because you understand the concepts. Okay, without even doing anything else. So b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. 1 plus 16k is less than 0. 16k is less than negative 1. You just solve it as like normal algebra. And therefore, k is less than negative 1 over 16. So this is the range of values of k